Buenos días a todos.
Good morning to everyone, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Romero. I'm the head of R&D and I of SEGITTUR. Arturo Bernal, who's going to join us soon, has told me that we haven't got much time, around 45 minutes for this interactive session, this roundtable session with these speakers. Let's see what we can put on the table in order to enrich the session with regards to what's been mention around what a smart destination is, and as the head of SEGITTUR has said with regards to the work we've been developing on smart destinations. I want to congratulate the conference organizers. I believe the subject is quite adequate, quite appropriate, and next week in FITUR we will be also delving into this subject, because many of the presentations will have to do with intelligent destinations. And very fast, I would like to introduce to you the three people which are going to be with me at the panel, and we'll try to make a kind of panel session. I didn't know Gema. She's the deputy mayor and councilwoman of tourism at the municipality of Santander. Out of your CV, I've seen that you've been linked to the municipality of Santander for some 10 years, fulfilling different jobs, so I'm sure you have a quite comprehensive perspective of municipal management, but in this case as applied to smart cities. She was the chair of the Santander Convention Bureau since 2006, and also a member of the board of directors of the Palacio de la Magdalena venue. Gema will be the first speaker. Then on my left-hand side, I've got Iván González, who's the director of intelligence of Madrid Turismo. He was working at SEGITTUR for many years, and finally he was hired by the municipality of Madrid, and he's in charge of the intelligence area of the town council, and also he's a member of the panel, and I'm sure he will add a lot of information on smart conferences and smart destinations. And finally, we've got Arturo Bernal, who will be the last speaker of the three members of the panel. He's been working in the tourist industry for a long time. He started working at the Torre Quebrada Casino in Benalmádena, also involved in the municipality of Málaga, and since 2011 he's been the president of the tourism convention of the Costa del Sol region. So without further ado, if you would like to start, Gema. Thank you very much to you all. First, I would like to thank EFAPCO and OPC Spain for taking into consideration the experience of the city of Santander. As the panel of speakers and the wonderful start we've had has been brilliant, but maybe we could say that from the city of Santander we're very open to enrich these discussions. We will start with a 4-minute video clip, and then I will tell you about the experience of the city of Santander.
Santander trabaja intensamente para llegar a ser
working very
una ciudad
intensively in order to
inteligente.
become a smart city.
Su objetivo es adelantarse al futuro,
Its main aim is
apostando por la
to
innovación
go
como motor
ahead
generador de
to
nuevas
future,
oportunidades para la
acting
ciudad
as
y los
an
ciudadanos.
engine for the generation of new opportunities for the city and its citizens. In a short time, it's become an international reference in that field because of its efforts towards innovation, the institutional support, the work developed by the scientific community, and the private-public sector's partnerships all around the Smart Santander European project.
Smart Santander
means deploying thousands of sensors capable of measuring and capturing variables and data, and some 20,000 of these sensors will be distributed all throughout Europe. Out of them, some 12,000 have already been put in place in Santander. Technological devices scattered throughout the city whose final destination is improving the quality of life of the citizens of Santander through the democratization of information provision. Thanks to this technology, now it is easier to find a parking place in Santander and managing the traffic in the city through the help of panels in streets, panels which provide citizens with real-time information thanks to sensors installed under the pavement, which speed up traffic, reduce the expenditure of fuels and polluting emissions. There are other systems which help us save in terms of water and light. There are sensors giving information about the need to start the watering of the green areas. Night and day, these sensors gather information such as, for example, the humidity in the air or the air temperature. These prevent wasting water and improve savings and the sustainability of the service. Other sensors regulate the lighting of some areas of the city, switching on the lamps only when it's needed. Or maybe they help improving the waste collection, rubbish collection system, informing about the level of filling out of their containers. Also, the availability of public bicycles, or worse, the closest available taxi. Through mobile apps, citizens can access to it. Smart Santander RDA is one of them. Enhanced reality is also the starting point of other applications, such as, for example, Santander Visual, with historic contents of the city, or the beat of the city, a tool which turns citizens into informers, and because citizens can provide the municipality with any kind of public information which might be useful. These are new services and possibilities which will become integrated in a single platform, which will act as a single management center, the City Cloud Center. It will mean a joint management of all services in the city, so they can be further coordinated, so in turn better decisions can be made on the provision of these services. Santander is making a firm bet for innovation as a model for development. Apart from being involved in an international project in terms of smart cities, Santander is also working in a new developmental model which is supported on culture and innovation. In this environment is that we have started the innovation plan for Santander, which is a reference document for any activities promoting the development and enhancement of public activities and initiatives. The arrival of new investments to the city is a key for the development of that new productive model which can generate economic activities and new employment opportunities. New investments based on the private-public partnership. That's a mechanism promoted by the town council, so technological companies choose Santander for the development and implementation of the technological centers, and also use it as a start for new initiatives promoted by local entrepreneurs. That's Santander's strategy for the promotion of innovation, quality and efficiency of the city, so it is turned into a better environment where to live and invest.
Pues espero que con este.
So I hope with this video you've made yourself with a picture of what we're working on from Santander. Santander is a city which is in northern Spain. You should meet it as soon as possible. It's a small city. It's 185,000 people, 35,000 square meters within our region. We are a single province region, and in 2 hours, in a 2 hours drive, we can enjoy the mountains, the beaches, and a ski resort. The city itself has got a 5-kilometer promenade overlooking the sea. So with this, I want to tell you that we are capable of attracting the city to a very wide span of people and preferences and choices. Historically, the city of Santander would only offer sand and beach tourism, but of course, time passes, hotels usually close down for the winter and would only open from Easter down to October, but now we have very professional companies which have got to be functioning for the whole of the year, and from the public sector we've got to facilitate their work. We should be a tool for tourist companies, and we should help in terms of promotion and work. So that's why it seems that being a smart city will be the future. We're being flooded with many things that can be hosted by cities, but as one of the fellow speakers mentioned, all of them should be framed. I believe that local governments should work in the planning of cities. So that's why it is not by chance that the city of Santander has wanted to become a smart city. For some years, it's been some years that we approved the local urban plan with the full unanimity of the different political groups, and we know what the land available in the city will be intended for, will be the destination it will have, because our strategic plan reaches up to 2020. And based on 2 main foundations. One of them is innovation, the other one culture. Culture because we are building the Botín Center. Is the biggest investment being made in our country. The Botín Foundation, whose chair is Mr. Emilio Botín, also the chair of the Bank of Santander, is investing 2,000 million euros in that cultural center. And we're also going to bring traffic underground in that area, and we've developed the cultural ring right in downtown Santander. That's the reason why we have planned to count on a cultural project, and the other one would be innovation. And what is it to become an intelligent city? And with that, we should take into account a better quality of life of citizens, for those who enjoy it and work in the city. So that's what we're trying to do. We, as you have seen from the video, within the 7th European Framework Program, we have developed the Smart Santander brand name. That means that we develop with the little money we have right now in Spain for public institutions, but also with the help of European money, we have launched 11 innovation projects in Santander. And also at the internal scale, we've created the Spanish network of smart cities. Málaga and some additional 40 Spanish cities have embarked themselves into. And what we do is to copy, test, and share. It might seem absurd that cities would work in an isolated fashion on these. So we should use or take advantage of the successes and failures of other prior experiences. So many of the things explained to us by the Mayor of Málaga, we've already seen that they are present in the city of Santander. We based innovation, and the city model is based in innovation. So that's why we launched the strategic plan, the innovation plan, and that brand name, Smart Santander. We've managed Smart Santander to become an identity sign. Our mayor was at the United Nations headquarters launching the Smart Santander idea. There are many occasions in which the Santander is in the media just because of this program, and we've specialized ourselves into becoming an urban lab for sensors. Of course, you've got to become specialized on something, and we've become specialized in sensors. We want to measure things so we can manage them later on. And how is it that we measure them? With landlines or fixed devices, and also through mobile devices. For example, if there are no parking spaces in a street, cars will be warned of it. There will be less waste of fuel. In that case, we've got sensors which control the watering of green areas. We've got sensors in lamps. Lightning pollution is also something we are concerned about. So what we've got to do is to manage to reduce the illumination level, so sensors will be controlling that, and at the same time we still keep our areas safe by night because of the lighting being applied. And also the trash containers, rubbish containers, have sensors, are provided with sensors that will detect if they are filled up or not. And also we've got additional mobile devices. There are devices in urban buses. Conference attendees would never use buses before, and now they're used by both the attendees and also the professional conference organizers. Why? Because if I give out a card for attendees, for someone it will be difficult to know how long it will take for them to reach a place, and if they have an easy application, a user-friendly application, if the conference organizers will give an attendee that application, that card, that smart card, that will mean that the attendee will use the public transport for free. We've agreed a very, very decent price with conference organizers for them to use public transport in our city. And taxis also have sensors, but the biggest mobile sensors we have are intelligent phones, because everyone has got a smartphone now, an iPad, so everyone can give us information on what's going on. We've used it in the city of Santander also to know which are the preferences of people, to get to know how they move about. And Smart Santander has given our city the possibility to create alliances with private companies. It is very important that there's a private-public partnership in place for the true development of a city. And we've seen, you may see that we've got a partnership with the Bank of Santander. There's an application we've developed through a partnership with them, There's a street going down to the Botín Cultural Center, and with an application which is open for citizens, we've made a survey in order to find out if the way going to that center should be pedestrianized or no. Also, with some Japanese companies, we are trying to design a kind of an electronic brain that would make a better use of the information we have from the sensors. Also, we're working in the detection of leaks. For example, with the change in the water tariffs, many hotels became a bit scared about their bills, and maybe we could, with that information, we can now warn them that maybe they're suffering from leaks. Also, tourists, for example, can share pictures with us, or citizens may tell us about problems they have found on streets, and with these sensors we may take the pulse of the city. We know what citizens feel about what we're doing in the city. There's a lot, there's a big trail ahead of us, but with innovation, we've been capable of generating illusion and enthusiasm among citizens and companies in terms of the improvement of our city. And what is it all this got to do with tourism? These two lines I was referring to before, culture and innovation. The first block is that of tourism. Tourism in the city of Santander is a kind of a cross-sectional thing. We haven't got large companies in Santander, no heavy industry, but there are more and more innovation companies. But our big asset is that of services, the service sector and tourism. The fact that Santander is a smart city is the best promotional asset we might have ever come across. We would have never been able to pay promotion campaigns which would have brought us up onto the media, as it's been the case with smart media. Right now, we haven't got to invite a Congress operator to come over and visit the city. Wherever they are, we can show them the Magdalena Palace or the conference hall with 360-degree presentations with maps. They can see the decoration, for example, of a place, because if the organizers want to set up a gala dinner, we may show them what's the final appearance. They can even see, organizers can even see how the names of attendees can look or will look on tables or the panels. Why? Because this way it is easier to set up the whole of a congress from Madrid, not having to pay several visits to the city. Also, we've worked in the promotion of companies. For many of these projects, we link we establish, or we help companies and clients to do networking. There are many companies with which are made available through our application. So there are offers, promotions, all what those 20 companies will have up for offer for 6 months, will be reaching down to our users. And also, of course, the applications that are there open for citizens, so they can help creating a more complete, a more comprehensive product. So in Santander, with those 20,000 sensors in place, we may get to know what tourists will be requesting from us. Next season, that will be taken into account by companies. And the benefits it's got for tourists or conference attendees, that will help them to do a kind of a re-trip. People will know what they're going to come across. They won't need to go to a tourist center. No needs to stand in a queue, or maybe the map, I've got a paper map and then I forgot it or I lost it. With the new technologies, we have all that information beforehand. We may select what's best for us from the city. And with regards to events, it can give us information depending on the venue. They will choose, and depending on the cultural agenda we can give for accompanying persons. That way we'll be able to capture more people, more companies. In fact, in the end, they are tools which are accessible from anywhere, and we may choose ourselves what we like in the city, because everything will be at hand, and that will mean in my mobile device. We've got tourist applications for tourists in different languages. In Santander, we welcome people from different countries, and maybe we're not that used to welcoming people, let's say, from Russia, and with the APPs and new technologies we can overcome that problem. Also, we've got augmented reality, and everyone can choose what's around. And we've developed an application which explains how things were before in the city. If the sea would go down to the harbor, or if we would reach the old city walls, if we see a picture of that, we will be able to understand how the city has evolved. And I believe all these is very important for people visiting us, important before they visit us, and also important for the people visiting us to become ambassadors of our city, so they can keep with them the applications, because Santander will be in their mobile phones there, so they can tell their friends that they've had the time of their lives and that they've enjoyed themselves. And right now, I could say that we are in our prime, and I would like to invite you, because in 2014 the city will open the Botín Cultural Center, and will also be the seat of the Sailing World Cup. So from 8 to 21 of September, more than 1,000 ships will be participating, more than 95 countries. So the new technologies have also been something very important for that championship to be obtained. So I would like to invite you all to this World Cup. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Gema. Me encanta.
Thank you very much, Gema. I'm delighted to see a speaker who's so passionate and who expresses her ideas so well. And you've left us with a lot of enthusiasm about going to Santander. And again, I'm now going to ask the two speakers that still have to speak, Iván, and if you could please try to be as concise as possible, simply so that we can build on concepts that have already been presented and try to initiate a type of discussion and debate. Okay, first of all, I would like to congratulate Santander. I think the work that you've done is very, very interesting as a city, as a smart city in Spain. I was unaware of all of this progress that you've made. I know it's not easy to do. Therefore, I would just like to give you my congratulations. My name is Iván González. I represent Madrid Destino, Madrid Destination, which is the municipal company responsible for managing tourism in Madrid. My presentation is going to focus on how smart tourism can influence the development of a smart city. The term smart city is an emerging concept one which is therefore subject to continual review. Concepts such as economy, people, environment, governance and coexistence all have to be managed in a smart manner and also efficiently. In other fora that I've attended, smart cities were also perceived based on three key elements: technology, big data management, the management of large volumes of data, and also sustainability management. In my opinion, sustainability is not a means to become a smart city. Rather, sustainability is the end which any smart city should strive to achieve. It should be interpreted in efficiency terms. According to the law of nature, those who survive are those who are able to overcome and manage the difficulties presented by nature in an efficient manner. Therefore, from an effectiveness or efficiency standpoint, what do we need in order to become an efficient, smart tourist destination? First of all, we have to be aware of the reality in that destination. In addition to understanding this reality, it's important to understand factors that change that reality. So, once we have good knowledge and understanding of that situation, thanks to new technologies, this is much easier today. It's much easier to have knowledge of this reality and also the factors that can change it. We are able to control this reality with certain skill. Therefore, in terms of knowledge management, a smart city must be based on information. But today, this information is strongly complemented or amplified by technology, as we've seen in the case of Santander. Technology allows us to have access to millions of data that existed before, but we were unaware of, because we lacked the consciousness and awareness that we have today. But how can we acquire this knowledge? Well, in Madrid, we decided to apply business intelligence techniques to the entire tourist destination. What does this mean? Well, we decided to use a collective brain. The collective brain is the development of a business intelligence system, which is the Tourism Intelligence Center that we've been working on since the end of 2009. It's a complex project to deploy because it's highly innovative, and we're not applying business intelligence criteria to a product, but to an entire tourist destination. How did we start? Well, business intelligence techniques start by using data, which we have to compile. By compiling this data, these data have to be organized, and once they've been organized, we have to have information. When we analyze this information, this allows us to acquire knowledge. And then at the bottom of the slide, you can see information, which is the capture and ordering of data, to which we have to add instinct. In other words, nothing is rational. Instinctively, we have to have the capacity to analyze data. We have to know what data we have to focus on. And from the millions and millions of data, we have to understand what data is not necessary because it doesn't contribute any value. So instinct can also help us to take effective decisions. So what did the CIT project consist of? Well, first of all, in 2009-2010, we performed a functional study of the system and came up with an initial proposal of traditional tourist indicators, a type of control for these type of data. In 2011-2012, we developed the telematic, the SEGITTUR model, which is the module for telematic tourist indicators and also the multidimensional analysis, the SART. And in this phase, in the phase 2013-2014, we are developing qualitative indicators. So we're no longer based just on quantitative data, we're based on perceptions. we're starting to automate qualitative perception of a destination, in this case Madrid. And the final module which will be developed this year is dynamic visualization. So all of this data is reflected in a multi-platform base. Again, this in 2009-2010, the different phases were a review of available statistics, a compilation of information needs of the main stakeholders working in the tourism sector in Madrid, then a list of proposed indicators in accordance with the recommendations and proposal, and then we came up with the proposals which led to the development of initial guide, which included data from the National Statistics Institute, the Tourism Studies Institute, IENA, tourism information points, and also hotel indicators. Here you can see an example of a screenshot from this initial controls. You can see that this has not been easy. There are many markets that are falling, but there's also some positives there, as in the case of Japan, the Asia-Pacific area, and in Spain, the North Plateau and also Cantabria. In Phase 2, what do we develop here? Well, in Phase 2, we concluded this phase in 2012 with the module of telematic tourist indicators. We realized that there were certain indicators which were based on electronic means or on internet, what we refer to today as big data, and we weren't in a position, either in technological terms or from a capacity standpoint, to develop these in the first phase. So we postponed this for a later phase. These data initially obtained from purchases and expenses using credit cards, again with data corresponding to statistics for the use of credit cards, and we're able to control credit card expenditure in different markets, 25 markets, which are the main tourist markets. So in Madrid, this would encompass 90% of our tourists. Also data based on web-based analysis and also based on comments on social media. We developed the Tourism Reporting and Analysis module, SART in Spanish, which allows us to develop advanced exploitation and use of indicators. We're able to cross indicators on the arrival of travelers who stay in hotels in Madrid with arrivals of passengers in Barajas airport, or the same data with credit card use in the city. Here you can see a screenshot of data relating to credit card usage. In this graph, you can see the average expense using credit cards, the average credit card expense, and on the horizontal axis, the number of operations or transactions. So the different circles allow us to have an overall view of the impact of markets in the city of Madrid based on tourist expenditure. As you can see, our main markets are North Americans, followed by UK residents and also the French. That's in expense terms. What are we developing now? Well, we're immersed in the development of the two final modules of this project. I didn't say this before, but the project is financed 50% with European funds from the ERDF fund. In this final phase, 2013-2014, we're developing the SEP module, the perception survey system, which consists in the qualitative analysis of tourists to Madrid. A panel of more than 1,000 surveys every year. We ask tourists, so we try to obtain information about their insights, their real motivations when it comes to choosing Madrid as a destination, and what they value most about our city. And this can also give us great strength as a cultural destination, but maybe not all visitors are interested in Madrid's cultural attractions. That is what we want to try to find out, and that's how we want to obtain this knowledge, through markets, and not just through markets, but also through segments. A senior couple is not the same as a group of young people, because each profile will look for different things. This is the type of thing we're trying to determine, the quantitative data variable, and cross this with the qualitative variable. And we also need further or more in-depth information about segmentation to determine different segments of interest in the city of Madrid. And the final module that we're developing in this phase is the dynamic visualization system. One thing that we have realized is that viewing or visualization is extremely important in order for us to be able to fulfill our function or responsibility to provide information. If we were simply to publish difficult and dense reports, we would not be able to capture the attention of the recipient of that information, and that would be a sign of inefficiency. Therefore, it's important to consider that recipients have to receive information in a dynamic way, in a way that attracts their attention, in a way that allows us to fulfill our function and responsibility to inform them as best as possible and provide them with better guidance based on that information. This allows us to install dynamic graphs and also graphs based on infography, and also make this available to all professionals through the Pro platform, which is a platform which is geared and intended for the sector, which we're in the process of developing. Okay, now I'm going to show you a video that we have prepared, and the video explains in a much more dynamic manner the functions of the Tourism Intelligence Center and the reasons and why we're using it.
Todo lo que estás viendo en este
Everything that you
momento
can see
es información.
is information,
Y toda esta información
and all of this
puede
information
ser útil.
can be useful.
Primero,
First,
hay que recopilarla.
The information has to be compiled, then ordered, and then
descubrir en ella patrones que ayuden
we
a
have to
diseñar
identify
una estrategia.
patterns which allow us to identify and design a strategy. That's business intelligence, to become more effective and competitive in the global tourism market.
El Centro de Inteligencia Turística CID,
The
desarrollado
CIT,
por Madrid Visitors
Tourism
and
Intelligence Center, developed by the Madrid Convention Bureau, analyzes this
y
information
la relaciona entre sí.
and relates this information and data.
Si analizamos, por ejemplo,
If we were
el
to, for
dinero que gasta
example,
un
analyze
viajero
the
alemán en
money
Madrid,
that a German tourist spends in Madrid,
el número de días que está
the
en la
number of
ciudad
days in the city,
y los lugares que
and the
visita,
places the person visits,
se define con bastante claridad
we're
el
able to
perfil
clearly
del
define
visitante
the profile of a German
de
tourist,
sus intereses y
from their
expectativas.
interests right through to their
Por lo
expectations.
que gracias al CID,
And thanks to the SIT system, we're able to meet their needs very accurately.
mientras datos como la
While
procedencia
data such as origin or tastes are gathered through surveys, other data such as telematic transactions are provided by different operators.
el CID
The CIT allows us to cross these different indicators and compare them,
y por lo tanto
therefore
afinar en el conocimiento del fenómeno
refining
turístico en
our
Madrid.
knowledge of tourism behavior in Madrid.
El análisis en toda su amplitud de la
Analysis
actividad
in the
turística
broader sense in
y la
the tourism
optimización de la
sector
gestión
and optimized management
permite conocer
allow
a
us
nuestros visitantes
to learn about
siga siendo uno de
what
los
our
cinco
visitors are
principales
like
destinos europeos.
and make us understand why Madrid continues to be one of Europe's main destinations, because our commitment to technology is a commitment to the future of our city.
Ayuntamiento de Madrid.
The City Council of Madrid. Okay, well, to conclude, just I would like to dedicate a couple of minutes to explain what the future of this system is going to be and the type of challenges, because clearly this is not easy to design. Well, the future is clearly based on the development of new indicators based on big data. For this purpose, we, together with BBVA, the bank, we've developed a report based on the credit card expense of BBVA clients in different sectors of the city. This allows us to have very highly segmented knowledge of what people spend their money on when they visit Madrid, by districts, by neighborhoods. We're also able to determine the streets in which tourists from Málaga live, and in what shops they spend most of their money in boutiques in Calle Serrano Street in Madrid. This type of information would have been impossible a few years ago, and we've been able to do this in collaboration with Movistar, which has provided us with data on the mobility of tourists within the city, taking advantage of existing infrastructures developed by other companies. What challenges do we face when it comes to developing a system of this type? Well, this is a system that's been fairly difficult to deploy. We have a series of challenges, and I want to be positive about the way I approach this and look at the solutions to these challenges which we face, not just in Madrid, but also in other destinations that would like to deploy a technological solution for a smart city such as the one in Madrid. First of all, technological commitment. Secondly, commitment to general interest. Commitment to confidentiality, a commitment to information quality, and a leadership commitment. What does technological commitment consist of? Well, it consists of selecting the best available technology, taking into account the cost-services ratio. As a public administration, we cannot continue with expenditure policies that, first of all, because we lack the economic capacity that we had before, but secondly, because we really have to monitor very closely what different types of technology can offer us based on their cost, and also see how with a lower cost we can obtain the same amount of services. We have to optimize this commitment. We also need up-to-date knowledge of the latest technological advances. We cannot rest on our laurels, and we always have to monitor latest developments to ensure that information is continually up to date, in line with technological developments. And the second and third challenge with the technological commitment is related to the DNA of the administration. Bureaucracy must ensure that innovation takes place fluidly. Often this is something which is not achieved due to a lack of knowledge on the part of administrative staff when it comes to launching technology-based products or contents. The second commitment is one that we should all have as members of society to general interest, particularly companies that have to facilitate data, private companies that manage important tourism assets or tourism events, and therefore hold highly valuable information about tourist activity. This information should be made available to the public administration to ensure that the public administration can use this information for the common benefits of that destination. If we are not committed to the general interest, then we cannot move forward. And the administration, the public administration, also has to be committed to confidentiality. And this is intimately linked to the previous commitment. If the public administration can guarantee that the data facilitated by private stakeholders are reused in a confidential manner, then there should be no problem when it comes to private stakeholders providing and facilitating this data. We're not going to undermine anyone's competitive advantage. In the private sector, we've found many difficulties in recent years to obtain this data for the benefit of the destination as a whole. And the fourth commitment is to quality. Could you please conclude, Iván? Thank you. Yes, there has to be continuity in terms of the supply of data, and the formats have to be easy to reuse. PDF is no longer valid, and reports have to be attractive and enjoyable or fun to attract the attention of recipients, and a good communication strategy is essential to reach all stakeholders. And a final commitment has to be to leadership. Strong leadership is essential in order to be able to ensure commitments and their compliance by all stakeholders. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.
Muchas gracias, Iván. Vamos con la última intervención.
Okay. Arturo, the Director General of the Málaga Costa del Sol Tourism Board. Good afternoon. Well, I would normally want to talk to you about Málaga and Costa del Sol as a smart destination. I'm not going to fall into that temptation, and particularly because I think that the Mayor has explained this very well already, and I'm not going to repeat what he said. I don't think that would make much sense. We've also had two very clear examples of Santander and Madrid, of two very unusual and very interesting applications and how they perceive smart destinations, smart cities, and in the case of Santander, how this is applied to concepts such as mobility, etc. And I think the developments in Madrid have been fantastic, and it would be good for us to have a chat after this presentation. So I'm not going to go into all of these matters that have already been addressed, because I think you'll have the opportunity to discover many things during your stay here in Málaga. But what I would like to do is focus specifically on just 10 slides, and I'll then show you a video. I'm not going to question the importance of a smart city or the idea of a smart city for a city. It's clear that that concept arose from the need to develop tools to improve the quality of life and increase and enhance sustainability in city for the benefit of citizens. This process clearly evolved as an argument which could be used to promote the area as a tourist destination. So how can a Congress benefit from a smart destination? Okay. This is a personal reflection. I wanted there to be some type of interaction here, so not just between us here as panel members, but also with you, if it's envisaged. Well, we've heard about technology and all of the arguments that are used to promote a smart city. A smart city is a smart destination. Is this a main reason which would attract you as professional Congress organizers? Is it something that, is the concept of a smart city something that you could use to attract these targeted clients to a specific destination? Or is this a facilitating element which is provided in a destination to interact with a tourist, to inspire them about how they can plan their visit and also offer them recommendations? And to what extent is this positive argument, namely the fact that a city has these type of tools and instruments which can be applied in the hotel industry, in the hotel and catering sector, with a view to perhaps reducing costs? This clearly has direct and indirect benefits for the sector. But how can this support positioning of our destination? And I say so as a representative of such an organization. What interests me is that the product offered in my destination is sufficiently good, and that we can communicate this with strong arguments to ensure that tourists can feel the need to come to that destination. I'm not sure how many of you knew that Málaga is a smart city. How many of you knew that Málaga was a smart city before you came here? And apart from being our mayor, I think we're going to have to contract or hire the mayor to be our main promoter, because he does a really good job. But I think this is a fundamental argument when it comes to choosing a destination. I think that these intangible arguments are related very much to experiences which prompt us to take these decisions, and perhaps interactivity or interaction of tourists or Congress participants may find things in a destination, and this will facilitate their mobility, their capacity to compile information, their ability to recommend that destination to other people. So what is a smart destination? Well, this is a definition that I've copied from the definition used by SEGITTUR. Antonio's discussed this. Again, I haven't managed to learn this off by heart myself. But that's simply because I am only being familiarized with this in recent times. But smart destination has to be an innovative destination, a consolidated destination based on a technological state-of-the-art infrastructure. It has to guarantee sustainable development. It has to be accessible for all, facilitate the interaction of visitors with the environment, and enhance the quality of their experience. I think that any destination that we're accustomed to dealing with, perhaps you more than me, since you organize meetings, conferences and professional events worldwide. Any destination that you may have used recently for any specific meeting, do these destinations comply with these criteria listed here in the case of Madrid and Santander, who are working on 1, 2, 3 or 4 of these arguments or criteria very clearly? However, and again, I'm not sure where the argument of a place being a smart destination is maybe one of the strong factors which will convince people to choose, let's say, Malaga as a smart destination. So how do we understand the concept, the smart concept in each of our destinations? Reviewing the list of smart cities, the network of smart cities, I think there's approximately 40, more than 40, 42 in fact. It's increased very quickly in recent months, in the last year. Recently it was just 31, we've increased to 42. So there's a whole group of destinations which carry this concept, or which have described themselves as smart destinations. And why are they smart destinations? Well, could you say whether our destination is more similar to the first picture? Is it more related to accessibility? Are we developing things in this sense? Obviously, this would facilitate mobility and accessibility for citizens and also tourists who visit us. There are cases such as Málaga, Santander, where we've seen this very clearly. And secondly, we could highlight renewable energies, clean energies, efficient energy processes. Again, I can repeat the case of Santander. Well, you've blown us away with everything that you've done there in Santander, with that impressive developments within the framework of this philosophy. Well, Malaga is very clearly framed within this whole trend. And in this third block, well, there's the Google glasses that you can see in the third picture. Well, there have been some presentations of the Google glasses in recent times. But again, this is an example of the application of technology to the maximum availability of information in mobile devices. Mobility, communication, information and communication equals mobility. Or is it more something like the last picture, namely the possibility simply to enjoy a destination or even just go to the beach and continue to work because this natural environment entices us to do so? I'm not sure if that's enough or not. But when it comes to organizing a destination such as the Costa del Sol, a destination which is maybe 40 years old as a tourism destination, although even before that people were thinking about its development as a tourist destination. But positioning decisions are perhaps the most important when it comes to the promotion of our destination. So much, in fact, that 30 years ago someone decided that the Costa del Sol was going to be a sun and beach tourism destination, fundamentally. Today, we're almost mortgaged by an approach which was excessively focused on that idea, on that type of positioning. If we've defined ourselves as a destination within a specific segment, then clearly we have an action plan, a marketing plan, certain promotional plans and marketing plans which are clearly geared in this direction. How do we want our target customers to identify us? How do we want them to purchase products and services in our destination? Are we really in this top of mind in these first 3 or 4 categories that tourists may have in mind when it comes to choosing their destination? And how does all of this fit in with the definition of a smart destination? How does all of this fit in with that destination or concept? Again, I'm not questioning the importance of technological developments, of sustainability, of renewable energies, of energy efficiency, environment applied to our destination. That's not a choice. I think it's a need. If we didn't do that, then our city would be a chaos. If in the near future we were unable to determine whether, or to know whether, let's say, the waste disposal containers in the main roads in the city were full of products before they were collected and they would overflow. then we would be poorly managing our destination. We have to have a capacity to interact with many people, with many staff. This variable of the equation in the city is very difficult to maintain due to the costs involved. Therefore, technological development is essential, but this is a duty, it's an obligation. It's not an option. What I'm trying to communicate is that this smart positioning, is this a type of positioning that we can sell and promote in our destinations? Have we truly planned how we're going to position ourselves and use this as a marketing tool and sell our smart destinations in this way? Gema, I think that Santander is doing this. Santander was a city that was oriented very much to holidays. It was a summer destination with spas. I've also enjoyed the cuisine there and also some wonderful anchovies. But we can see that you've also tried to sell Santander as a smart destination, and that there are people in the world that are willing to purchase your destination as a smart destination. I think that's a very good approach, and that's what it's all about. Now I'm going to explain what our positioning is and what we're selling as the Costa del Sol.
There is a sun that is one and many suns at the same time. There is a pleasant sun that welcomes you, a warm and inviting sun that receives you each morning to make you feel at home. There is a vibrant sun that transmits energy, a sun that gives you strength to face each project with the enthusiasm of the first day. There is a close sun full of vitality that invites you to share new experiences, to show the best there is in you. And there is a Mediterranean sun that feeds our earth, an authentic sun that gives flavor and color to our table. There is a generous sun that presents you with moments in which to enjoy the small pleasures that make life meaningful. There is a committed sun that illuminates the present with the energy of tomorrow, that is concerned for a future that must belong to everyone. There is a revitalizing and renewing sun that is equilibrium, harmony, a gratifying sun that softly caresses you while caring for you. There is a sun that invites you to enjoy the moment, a sun that asks you to come out, to discover, try, get to know. There is a serene and evocative sun that is an endless source of inspiration, an ancient sun that accumulates experience, which is culture and tradition. There is a sun that is time, minutes, hours gained from the day, to be able to live intensely and to savor each instant. There is a sun that is one and many suns at the same time. You only have to find yours. Name one. We've got them all.
Which are the material, immaterial attributes we are transmitting? That's the position we want to show, of course, including the Congress tourism. We're not selling the best place for working, not selling the best equipment or resources for a meeting, even if it's shown in the video, but just for a few seconds. Also showed it for you to know that the sun here, you might see the palace with sun. Anyway, what we're saying is kind of a plan B. Differentiation is introduced by those immaterial or through those immaterial elements, where, as the video said, we've got many suns. Which one would you keep? It's closeness, the warmth, not just of the weather, but also of people and of dealing with people. And that positioning has taken us 20 years in the case of the Convention Bureau, which we have just started this year by trying to sell this idea. I'm not saying that selling the idea of the smart destination would be a bad argument, rather a good one, but obviously In order to enjoy that positioning, you've got to plan. You've got to transmit, communicate, and sell, and bring smart attributes onto all stages of inspiration, from through business intelligence processes. We should come back to the start of the change with inspiration again. I wouldn't like to tie you not against the application of new technologies. Of course, I would like you to know the technological developments we have foreseen for 2014 within the tourist board of Costa del Sol, with technology and everything having to do with 360, our marketing station. But I'd like you to reflect a little bit on these. Are we selling smart places or not? Are we going for a smart positioning? Are we going to use it as an argument for selling, or as a facilitating element for the interaction? I'll leave it there with you, and maybe you can speak over it during the break times. Thank you very much, and good morning.
Bueno, Arturo, muchas gracias.
Thank you, Arturo. We are completely out of time, run out of time. We used up about 50 minutes with presentations, which were all of them running for less than 20 minutes. If there are any questions from the audience, of course, we know that during the morning the three speakers will be with us, will remain with us, and we've got a working lunch starting at 1:30, 1:45. You'll have the possibility to interact with them. I don't know if there's anyone who would like to ask a question. Well, I would like to congratulate the moderator and the different speakers at the panel. Do you believe that your cities, when producing a candidacy for a congress, the fact that they are a smart city would be an added value for you to be chosen as a candidate or as a destination? Of course, otherwise we wouldn't be developing it. And as a member of the municipal government, right now we've got to be quite wise in terms of our investments, otherwise we wouldn't be doing that. I believe that separating tourism from any of the other areas of governance is very difficult. Tourism is a very cross-sectional area which benefits from everything happening in the city. That means that we in the city, we do a customer satisfaction kind of a survey around this tourists, and something which is very valuable for visitors should be taken into account. For example, the seasonal flowers, they love them. And I want to go down to this kind of a detail in order to tell you that why then it's so important that there are watering sensors in the gardens. Also, traffic is something tourists detest the most. For example, when you've got to reach a specific speaking time in the agenda because you want to listen to someone, or you've got to deliver a speech, and we regulate the flow of traffic lights depending on the amount of vehicles, and for tourist companies to reach our places, to want to be with us, we've got to facilitate their work. And I believe that if the administration gathered data, knows how to interpret them, and these companies do their work starting from this data, you will do things right. I can give you many examples. Of course, I'm fully convinced that for the tourist sector, it is one of the most direct benefits it's got, because we've got to rule for the citizens, but at the same time we've got to make tourists feel at ease and comfortable in our city. So both things go hand in hand together. I agree that with regards to the positioning of communication information technologies and the smart positioning benefit the city, tourists, any visitors? And I'd like to answer your question. Are conference tourists come to us because we are a smart city? Well, it will depend on the way in which we create a smart city, and also in terms of how those visitors are permeable to that idea. If I go to Málaga because there's a wonderful airport, good roads, a wonderful network of restaurants, and also we've got the B plan, and it's a fantastic B plan. Okay, I'll buy it. And we've just started. There are just 40 cities in Spain which are smart cities. And I've visited Hamburg, Vienna, London, etc. And these cities are classified as smart cities. And I may assure you that I haven't visited them because they are smart cities. I think there's some work ahead of us. Examples such as that of Santander mean that there's a clear positioning we should take into account. And now clients and you yourselves, conference organizers, tell us about that when you come to our cities. The interest, the argument you buy is that one, the one I've shown you in the video. That's what you're telling us. You want to count on the right place to be at the conference, to have technology in order to interact with our speakers and provide them with your speakers and attendees. But it's not a fundamental element argument for sales right now. From Madrid, I'm very much in agreement with what my colleagues say. It can be a good argument in terms of telling that the city is making an effort to become a better destination for the operator and the Congress, better than other cities which do not enjoy that tag. Are there any other questions? Yeah, now. Well, congratulations to the speakers and the moderator, who's doing a perfect job. On the other hand, there's a reflection and maybe a clarification. I've listened several times to people saying how public institutions make efforts for the tourist sector. Well, let's put it the other way around. How is tourism generating benefits to the city, the public institutions, and the sector and the industry in the area? The fact that tourism comes to the place means that richness is generating, wealth is generated in the city and in the country in turn. The city which is the host of hosting an event. And that's something I haven't listened to. I think there's the need for a joint action of support for prescriber. And who would be my prescribers? For example, the head of the Spanish Association of shoemakers or firemen or whatever. Who's the only one who can enter the national conference and say, well, ladies and gentlemen, the next meeting I want it to be held in my town. None of you nor none of us can enter that closed circle. So who's in that information, in that knowledge system, in that so deep analysis, who's looking for that moment, for that tweak which will make that person to choose our town for the celebration of the next venue? Well, from the Office of Tourism of Madrid, in that sense, for many years we've started a seminar called, or referred to as Recognition Night, at which we award those doctors, conference organizers who have got nothing to do with tourism, but who are prescribers and tell the world, come to Madrid because we will take charge of organizing the conference in your city. And from the Madrid Convention Bureau, for some years we've been organizing those events. And how do we locate such people? First, it's a marketing technique, which means just finding twins. If a certain client has got a series of specific characteristics, you'll have to look for the same typology of clients fitting into that same template and invite them to attend these meetings at which we acknowledge, we recognize the work of the colleagues. Yeah, from the Madrid Convention Bureau, there's support to that. Maybe, Gema? Well, I fully agree with you. We in the city, as it is a small city, we've got to ask for help from the private sector. And very recently, we have created the OPC Cantabria Association. Luis Gandia is the chair. He couldn't be here because of professional issues. And one of the awards that for the first time has been given has been to give an award to a doctor from Valdecilla, the hospital of Valdecilla, who's brought a conference to Santander. Also, for example, we've given an award to the Bank of Santander, whose shareholder meeting still takes place in Santander. Last year, Santander, as it was the anniversary of the foundation of the city, there were 4 very important events. From the Santander Convention Bureau, when we analyze statistics, the first sector in the city generating events is the medical sector. The Valdecilla Hospital is a forerunner in research in some areas. For example, we're the first city, we've got the best hospital in terms of heart transplant in the country. So I believe this question was wonderful and was very adequate. And with a bar of doctors, I gathered together all the heads of department of Valdecilla and all the presidents of the associations, and I told them, well, I won't be able to go to Madrid and ask them to bring their meetings to the city. And then, for example, the doctors in Santander will tell, oh my gosh, I'm busy enough in order to set up a conference here, and how am I going to attract these professional association? And that's the moment I tell them, you know, I'm going to give you a letter from the mayor. Vote yes, and I will help you to do everything, because I know the city, I know service providers, the bus company. I will make things easy for you. If the truck, the lorry bringing equipment over has got a problem there, I will make things easier for you. Of course, that's easier to do in a small city as it is Santander. So in Santander, we have it very clear in mind, and I gathered together all doctors and heads of department of the Valdecilla Hospital, and I invited them to the La Magdalena Palace. I'm somewhere in that picture. So we do that, and we find it very important. Thanks a lot, and please tell them that there are conference organizers there, of course. Yeah, well, I'm just saying that because if you make their lives so easy, we can just stay at home, rather stay at home. Well, I think I've got to say a note right here, and maybe some of you here do not know that the conference organizers awarded the MalagaCon project, which is a project which gathers together the Tourist Promotion Bureau of Malaga and those of the rest of the province around that same driving idea, that of facilitating things. As it happens in many cities of Spain, medicine and pharmaceutical meetings are the main engine, and every year here in Malaga we hold a gala dinner and an award ceremony for professionals who are doing or who are working in a way which is positive to for our city and our area. And I believe that subject, that thing is that's an initiative which is being taken or considered very positively by the sector, by the medical sector and the medical profession. I think we're doing things right, but of course there's always ground for improvement. Thank you very much, Arturo. Now we've really gone beyond the time allocated to the session. I thought it was the right time to include these questions. There have been concepts which had to do with culture, with sensors, with private-public partnerships, because otherwise this wouldn't work. And this has got to do on how we go from technology to action and how we coordinate public institutions and work with the private sector. We've spoken about new measurement systems that really we do not know. Arturo has launched a series of questions which would have allowed us to widen this time going down into the evening. And also we've referred to how the smart city definition contributes to that concept. Santander is showing how that can be done, the tangible and intangible attributes, influencing the minds of consumers, how we can change our positioning around that concept, as it's been the case of Malaga and other destinations. So there were many subjects. To sum up, I would say that thing of the smart tourist destination is a vocation, is a will to change things for the better of citizens and residents and visitors, for them to come back in the end. An intelligent destination is just a trip. And every one of us, we are small Ulysses which can let that boat of technology, of the territory, of private-public partnership, and that trip inevitably cannot be done without the help of professional conference organizers, and that's why you're here. We'll try to be smarter in the running, in the management of that, and of course we will be counting on you. Thanks very much for your attention, and we'll be around during the day. Thank you.